Hello, everybody. Welcome to Twitch, and this is Legend of the Five Rings with Well, That Didn't Work. I'm Percy. I'm your host and your GM, and it's been about a month since we did this live, so let's go ahead and tell people your name and who you're playing.
Mirumoto Diphthong, playing a Togashi monk.
His name is Rick, and he's playing Mirumoto Diphthong.
Skip the name there.
Yeah, that would be it. Except tonight, I'm not Rick at all.
That's true. You're wearing a full costume. You're
Well, sort of. As far as you know.
He's wearing a full costume from the waist up.
Yeah.
Don't ask about the waist down.
That's right. That's what she said. Okay.
Yes.
I'm Chris. I'm Kikita Asamu, the Kikita duelist.
I am Kevin. I'm playing Utaku Kiteo, a unicorn battle maiden.
Yes. And the last
I am
one.
Mike, and I'm playing Ari Isawa. And I am
It's
a
the
Phoenix.
other way around. Asawa Iri.
Whatever.
Japanese boy tonight. We got to get in the mindset.
Well, if I was Japanese, I'd have done fixed our technical issues. So I'm going to go with I'm a Phoenix. Isawa.
Positive racism going straight in, all right?
Yes, sir. I'm just saying there's a gift, and right now I'm not possessing said gift.
You're right. You don't have that gift.
On most nights, I can figure it out. But tonight, it just said, and that's it.
Oh, well.
So last time on Legend of the Five Rings, Warrior's Path, Isawa and Kikita were in the midst of the Battle of the Black Mist, which I thoroughly enjoyed getting to see how that played out. You guys fought alongside Akoto Arasu, who is the Lion Clan. I can't remember if I said he was the champion or is just very important, but he's definitely a general for the Lion Clan. I think that's what you know for certain. He is the general who oversees the fort of, I believe it's called Akoi. That's right near Toshiranbo, which is where you guys have been for the last several episodes. You guys fought alongside him against some assailants, at first wearing crane uniforms, and then against some ninja who intentionally poisoned the air around you. Thankfully, Kikita and Akoto were able to cover their faces with jade masks that had been worn by the ninja that they destroyed effectively. But Isawa was not so lucky and acquired some Shadowlands taint on his lungs. Meanwhile, Utaku and Mirumoto wandered through the city of Toshiranbo, still stuck inside thanks to the increased guard, found that the Hida magistrate, or the Emerald magistrate, Hida Osegawa, had suddenly decided that the Crane magistrates, he wasn't in any wrong, he wasn't in any fault. They discovered that, as well as a dragon priestess. Mm-hmm. You couldn't really figure out what her deal was. She tried to convince you to not proceed with the course of action you were taking, but you were able to subvert her words to the point where you went in and freed Ikoma Dendaru. And that's kind of where your story fizzled out for the moment. And I think before we start any narrative work, I had a couple questions for you guys, all four of you. One, did anybody, with the experience that I've given out so far, if you spin it all directly in your school, you would be at rank 2. Is anybody at rank 2?
No.
Nope.
No.
I would be, but I
No.
didn't do anything with it.
Fair enough.
Maybe after our break.
All right. So you guys are at 20 experience earned so far. For the most part, you guys have spent that on like rings and stuff like that, and some in your school, but because you've spent it on rings, which aren't in any curriculum, at least at the first rank, you are still at rank 1, which is totally fine by me. Please advance your characters as you want to advance them. The second question that I have for you is, as far as your characters are concerned, what do you think kind of the next narrative thread that you're going to try to follow is going to be? And Rick, let's start with Miyamoto. You've got a lot going on there in
Well, I
Toshi
do,
Rambo.
and probably I'm going to finding out what's going on with Griot and the Wolf Clan.
Okay, so
is-
you're hunting the Wolf Clan and
Yes.
Griot.
And what's going on here in Toshi Rambo as far as the Crane. That's right now, that's the number one. But all the threads that are tying this whole situation together,
Yeah.
just does not sit well with me. It's just dishonest, and
Absolutely.
I can't abide by that.
All right, Kakita, what's your next, your character's next thought? Like the next move that you think you're going to make? And it doesn't have to be anything profound or extreme or long term.
Just try to establish like a stable leadership structure in Toshi Ranbo, because it's really kind of fallen to pieces.
Okay. Utaku, what about you?
I guess following where I actually was left off, which was following. Lord
Yeah, you were
Ida.
following Hida.
So continuing that to find out what the deal is for him to be pushing against the Crane magistrate here, and then all of a sudden, nope, it's all okay, nothing to see here.
All right.
As conflict is erupting outside the gates, and we've uncovered more and more of the Wolf Clan trying to capitalize on the opportunity.
Absolutely. And Isawa.
I think Isawa is a little bit more concerned about what just took place and dealing with, because he understands the ramifications of the taint. So I think he's a little bit more concerned with that, and then kind of secondary to that would be the Wolf Clan issue.
Okay, so kind of signs of the Shadowlands
Correct.
and Wolf Clan. All right, cool. So now that housekeeping is kind of out of the way, I want to give you guys kind of just an idea of where I'm headed as far as like the things that are going to be going on in the world. Now, of course, you guys interact with it in the sandbox. I don't ever want to like what's called railroading you into anything specific, but I pulled our Facebook group, the Legend of the Five Rings group, and overwhelmingly they wanted a political adventure. So I'm kind of I'm going to lean myself into that. And then you guys just interact with that however your characters would interact with that. None of you are courtiers at all. And so it makes sense that you wouldn't do well in court. But the things surrounding you, the things going on in the world will kind of lean a little bit that direction. And you guys just kind of play in that space a little bit and just kind of figure out what would I as a monk do while this is going on politically, knowing that like my pull is probably minimal in court, kind of thing. Like, and you may have more social skills than what I'm giving you credit for. I don't know. I don't know the intimate details of your character sheets, but if I were betting, I would say you built your character around your character. In which case, for the most part, we're pretty well combat oriented here.
I've become more courteous.
Good. That's a good thing to do.
Good.
It's a good thing to do. So let's go ahead and pick up then with Lady Utaku. Lady Utaku, you're following after Lord Hida. He is on his way. When you began following him, he was on his way out of the magistrate's chambers. Now, Miyamoto went to go free Ikoma Dandaru, but you went the other direction.
Correct.
And so it's kind of your story is the one we've spent the least time on so far. So basically you follow him, and instead of going to the sake house, you see him kind of visit shrine after shrine.
Just paying respects or praying at the shrines? Or
How close do you get to him? Like, how close are you following? Toshi Rambo is not a huge city by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's more of a small town than it is a city.
All right.
And so basically the
streets
layout
the streets are pretty empty, right? Still.
ish. I mean, they've become a little bit more lively as the day has gone on, as people have seen. There's no actual danger in the city right now. Things seem to be well taken care of. The Crane Magistrate has promised that his best warriors are on the task.
I guess I would have kept a pretty decent distance until he started making after the second shrine visit,
Okay.
I would have moved a little closer to see if there was anything to see to exactly what he was doing.
So I
guess.
think your role for this kind of perceptive motion is to either roll a sentiment check, and I think the ring that makes the most sense to me is going to be air for that. If you wanted to make something like a fire, I think the target number would be increased. And
What about survey? Because
um,
that's
so
in the
that's
sentiment.
going to be
what-
in the water. So basically, you know how in the book you'll read like you got to do a target number 3, and if you do this one, it's a 1. If you
Yeah.
do this one, it's a 4. It's kind of if you want to do water ring, the target number is going to be a 2. If you do air, target number is 1. If you do fire, target number is 4.
All right,
And that's but that's if you want to do sentiment. If you're wanting to gauge his intention, if you want to see what he's actually doing, if you want to try to observe what's actually happening, I think you would actually take a either tactics roll or theology. Now the difficulty is going to be basically what difficulty I just gave you, increased by 1, but you will get more details for making that check.
Then let me go ahead and do tactics.
Okay. So it's tactics, and if you use the air ring, target number is 3. Or, sorry, if you use the air ring, target number is 2. If you use the fire ring, target number is 5. Anything else is a 3.
Okay, we'll do air.
Okay. So target number 2 tactics check.
Well, I got it, and I got 2 strife along with it.
Okay, so which dice are you keeping? Now you only get to keep the 2 dice. Right? Perfect. So 2 successes and a strife.
No, 2 successes and 2 strife.
2 successes and 2 strife. Okay, excellent. So you'll definitely take the 2 strife on that one. And what you observe is that he kind of goes to each shrine and momentarily pays a respect and then turns around. And this is kind of, you have to like look as nonchalant as you possibly can when this happens. But he would go into the shrine, say a short prayer, probably shorter than normal, and then turn around and observe the village from that vantage point. And then he leaves and moves to the next shrine.
All right.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you just follow him, or are you doing anything else while you're on the trail?
When I notice this the first time, I'm going to let him proceed. Seeing it appears that he's following the shrine, so I could catch up to him,
Okay.
and I want to see what he sees from this vantage point.
Okay, excellent. So that's going to be a tactics check with Earth.
Earth, you say?
Mm-hmm.
What's the target number?
Target number is 2.
2 successes and 1 strife.
2 successes and 1 strife. Perfect. So you look out from this shrine, and let me see. I have a list of the different fortunes here, which is nice to have on hand. Thanks so much to the Dojo Creative Designs, or Dojo Creative Designs is what it is. They have some really great PDFs for download that anybody can use. They're really, really wonderful. Yeah, so we're going to say this one is the fortune called Kamashi Okara, the Fortune of Sorrow. And as you look out from this particular shrine,
You said it was Komashi.
just write down Fortune of Sorrow. You don't have to remember all of the like Japanese sounding names. Fortune of Sorrow would be like the translation into English, essentially. So as you look out, you notice somebody standing in a black, like, kimono with a hood.
All right.
As you step out of the shrine to maybe get a closer look, you don't see them move, but at the same time they vanish.
All right, that's very peculiar. Let me go check out another shrine along this path.
Okay, are you going to kind of follow in his footsteps?
Yes.
Okay. You move to the next shrine, and this is going to be the shrine basically of the housekeeper. I can't remember. I just looked at it, and I can't remember the name of the fortune that it is. But you get to it. He is gone by the time you get there, but you assume that this is the next one on his path. And you look out, and you see a similar. You don't know if it's the same, but you see a similar figure standing probably 50 feet away. And when you emerge from the shrine to see if you can, like, hail them down, they've gone again.
Now, how far away are they from the shrine?
About 50 feet.
So relatively close.
Relatively close. You can't see details of their face because they're wearing some sort of hood. But
Alright.
You can see a figure there.
I haven't been in this town long enough to know. I'll try to see if I can find and hit the last shrine before he gets there.
Okay, so you're going to try to get there before him?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll me a theology check. It's going to be target number 1. Theology with, I would think, fire makes sense, or
Okay.
void. Depending on like, kind of how you're approaching the...
Let's go with fire because this is having me a little... Panic's not the right word. I guess
adrenaline
nervous.
is running.
Yeah. So I have a success and an opportunity.
You just need 1 success.
All right.
And then you can use that opportunity to
You gave
lower
me
a
these
strife.
You gave me these nice things that I
I did.
want to
Those
use.
fancy cards.
Found the right one. I don't think that really fits there. Because I rolled theology, right?
You did. You rolled theology and fire.
So would I be able to discern motives or desires with this? That's the one that goes along with
yeah.
that before.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think so. So you get there, you look out, you kind of do the same motions that you had done before in the previous shrines,
Mm-hmm.
and when you look out, you don't see anything.
Okay.
Well, you see the city, but you don't see the figure.
Which shrine is this one, by the way?
This shrine, I'll say the last shrine in kind of the line, the kind of shrine map, as it were, is just going to be the Fortune of Steel.
Excuse me. All right.
So you get there, you look out, and there's nobody standing there. And I think with your opportunity, you realize that, like, you're right. This doesn't seem like something he would do. It doesn't seem like something that really anybody would do. Like, the method he's going about is strange for what it is. And you can assume that the motives he's acting under are not his own.
Okay.
And I think as you leave that shrine, you kind of narrowly miss him seeing you specifically exit it, because that would be the next shrine he would be going to.
Okay.
But you kind of like slip out, and as you slip out and are walking down the road, he comes out of the previous one, and kind of almost startles you a little bit, but doesn't cause you any strife directly. And let's move over to Kakita and Isawa. You guys had just finished kind of this big battle. We're opening up right where you left off, where you saw this ninja staring back at you and then leave. And it looked like they had smiled as if they had accomplished the thing that they wanted to accomplish. Give me 1 second while I'm reading something real quick. Yeah, I think we'll. So what I'm reading here is the cleansing rite ability that Isawa has taken as part of his experience expenditure, and basically during our next downtime,
Why would he need that?
he panicked a little bit, I think. So
Well, he's used to playing Udell, so of course he's.
I think during our next downtime, I'll give you a shot at it, but I'm going to wind up increasing the target number from 3 to 4 because of the nature of the taint that it is.
That's fair.
Because it's like specifically taint on the lungs that you've breathed in for kind of an extended period of time at this point. All right, so you guys you've observed that this battlefield is mostly barren. None of the lion samurai that were with you are dead or even really wounded very much. One of you guys can roll me a tactics check, and the other one can roll me a government check. The government check is going to be to communicate with Akodo, and the tactics check is to kind of determine what the reason that the ninja came was for. Like, how are they involved?
I'll give Kakita the honors here.
Oh.
The honor, like the one to pick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Kakita, which check do you think you want to go for?
I've been doing most of the conversing with Akodo. I think I will continue speaking with him.
Okay. So,
The
government
government.
check. You can choose the ring, and the target number is only 1.
1? Okay.
And the other check, the tactics check, Mike, is going to be target number 2.
Okay.
But if you use void, it would be target 1. If you were to use air, it would be target 3.
Let's do...
I will go ahead and use my void stance.
Okay. So you'll go ahead and make those rolls.
So I will keep that one and that one.
I'll say, can you get all 3? Oh, no, that might.
I don't want to do that.
I thought that one had only opportunity on it.
All right, so for the tactics check, I have a
Strife.
success, 2
Biggest opportunity to
opportunities,
get rid of
and
that
a
No, that's true. So it washes.
But
strife.
All right. Mike, go ahead and tell me again what it is you rolled real quick.
All right, so I rolled the tactics check, and I ended up rolling 2 opportunities, a success, and a strife.
2 opportunities, a success, and a strife. Well, that 1 success is enough to get you through. Opportunities on the void, you can kind of look over that card that I handed you at the beginning of the session and see kind of how you might want to spin that. Of course, you rolled void, so the strife does not
Correct.
affect you at all. And I'm going to say you, in kind of centering yourself and thinking about like why would this happen? What does any of this mean? I think your tactics check doesn't really revealed, like it doesn't reveal something new for you, but it kind of makes you think about battles you've heard about, as well as, do you have any siblings? I don't know if your character has decided this yet.
He has not decided this, and I would go with only child, just because
Okay.
I'm sticking it to the man.
Okay, you're an only child, so I'll say that one of your classmates that you trained with in school leading up to your Genpuku, leading into the Topaz Championship that you had gone to, you had this kind of experience with them in that training moment, like when you guys were sparring with the Boken, where they kicked up dust into your eyes. And it was one of these weird sparring sessions that you had been invited to by this other student. And you found out like he kicked this dust up into your eyes and someone hit you from the back. And so like you kind of got ganged up on in that moment. And you're centering right now, even though this was like an instance clearly of like bullying, of this poor kid Isawa. You realize in this moment that this act of like throwing this dust, even though it seems initially like the point of it was to poison somebody, is probably a smokescreen for something else going on. That this is not the only threat active here,
Okay.
and there's something else behind the scenes moving. So this was not it. This is not the final piece of this battle.
Okay.
Now, Kakita, you're speaking with Akodo. How did your roll go?
a success, an opportunity, and a strife.
Perfect. Do you want to use that opportunity to cancel the strife?
Sure.
Or do you want to use it for something else? It's up to you.
I think I'd like to use it to learn something about Akodo.
Excellent. Okay. Akoto takes a deep, deep breath. It's almost as if he's taking in the smell of the dew and the smell of the overall, like, the rice paddy and the everything that is going on around him. Like, he's taking in the scent of all of it and using that to kind of bring himself a peace. And so, like, you get the sense that aroma is a way to calm him. So that would be the thing that you're learning about him.
Okay.
So if you wanted to particularly remember that, you should probably write that down, because I will not remember that. Actually, I might. That's a pretty interesting detail about
That's very
somebody.
cool. Yeah.
So he takes a deep breath and hands the naginata to one of the samurai that had come with him, who places it back in the saddlebag on his horse. And he looks to you and says, "Kakita, I wasn't sure that I could trust you initially, but I think that you have proven yourself a worthy crane indeed, as worthy as crane go."
I will take that as a compliment, Lord Akoto.
You certainly should. It's not every day that a military man praises the gaudiness of the crane, and you can take that as an insult.
And we were doing so well.
I think we're doing as well as two people in our station can possibly do. Now, can you tell me anything about these imposter crane?
I'll go look at him.
Yep, please do. I think your investigation would have to do with culture. Would be kind of a hard check because they are pretty well disguised. I think the thing that throws you off more than anything is the swords, that they don't really match up. But other than that, they look like perfectly normal crane. They could just be poorer crane samurai.
Okay.
I think if you wanted to do culture, it would be a fairly difficult check, like target number 3, which is pretty difficult for your level.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do, though, a void skullduggery check, that one would be a target number 2, which is more passable for you, I think, but also might reveal a little bit less.
Okay.
Now the culture check, like I said, it's the ring is open.
Yeah.
You could do fire and use that strife and all that fun stuff to be able to make that one activate if you wanted to do that. But the skullduggery check, I think, would have to be void to be able to gain the information that you need.
From it. Well, since the most distinctive thing about them is their swords, could I use maybe smithing to figure out something about?
If you wanted
where they
detail
came from that way?
Yeah, if you wanted details on where the swords themselves originated from, you could do smithing. That particular check will take a longer amount of time than like an examination of the people, but definitely that's available.
So I think that would tell us more about them as well as people, whether these were their swords or they acquired them of some fashion.
Okay.
I think that would be helpful in
Sure.
some
Yeah.
way there. So.
So smithing check, I'm going to make it a target number 2.
Okay.
The more successes you get, the more information you'll get.
Okay.
So bonus successes give you extra this time.
Yes. Bonus successes. Okay.
Would he know that I'm somewhat of an expert in weapons?
I don't think so. I don't think you guys have talked much about that.
Okay.
Probably not.
You are a little bit far away from your mic, though. I mean, we heard you fine, but just as we go forward.
Okay. Well.
I'm working with monkeys here. Don't do it.
You have no idea.
Okay. Let's see which.
Oh wait.
Yeah, let's use fire then.
Okay, so you're going to do fire and smithing.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they use smithing. They use fire
They
and
do.
smithing
They do.
a lot.
Well, I have 2 explosive successes so far.
Wow. You only needed 2 successes to initially get anything.
The one comes with the strife, the other does not.
And you only get to keep 2 of those dice.
Yeah.
Whoops.
but he get to roll it again.
Our
do.
endless fidgeting strikes again.
Let's keep those two, and let's roll some more here.
We're gonna have to super glue a fidget spinner right there on the desk for you.
Okay, that's a nothing. That's a help. But I did roll another explosive success from that explosive success. And a final success with the strife. So let's...
So you're using fire too, so.
Yeah, that's true. That does... Now, this is technically a new scene, right? So our strife from the battle is halved?
Yes.
Right? Okay. In that case, yes, we will keep this one as
Okay.
well. So that gives me 2...
Well, it's not, the strife isn't halved, but
Yeah.
you go down to half
Down
of
to
your
half. Okay.
composure.
Okay, that makes sense.
Unless, of course, you unmasked at the end of it.
Yeah, and then you're at 0. You're fine. Perfect.
Only one of us keeps unmasking.
Okay. So I have
It's
a
true,
grand
the
total.
most unstable at the table.
I have a grand total of 6 successes. 2 of those being
Wow.
strife. Yeah.
Okay, so
You wanna
your
know all
your
of it.
initial 2 successes show you that these swords are not. There are some of Crane make. It's not like none of them are Crane weapons, but they vary from clan to clan. These are all swords that were initial rewards for successful Ginpuku ceremonies. And I think your 4 successes, instead of giving you like 4 individual new details that are above and beyond your initial 2, I think the 4 successes reveals to you that one weapon in particular is made from a very particular type of steel that is really only found on the other side of the wall. It's almost inlaid with a darkened version of the metal. It's not directly like obsidian, but that's what it makes you think of.
It's kind of related to it in some fashion.
Yeah, in some fashion, there's some sort of composite mixture of steel and something else that went into making this blade. Now, it's not one of the katanas; it's a wakizashi. So much
from
easier
the
to carry.
Shadowlands?
Yes, yeah. That's when I say other side of the wall. That is, yeah,
I know, just
Yeah.
being more specific.
yes. It's from the Shadowlands. So I think for now, what that gives you is that these guys and the ninja that came in are definitely related in some way. Beyond that, I think you'd have to kind of suss out more of the mystery of it as we go on.
Okay.
For sure. Does that work for you?
It does, yeah.
Does it feel like that's
very
worth
cool.
4 successes?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a lot to go with.
Cool.
I'll, of course, relate what I've discovered to Okoto, pointing out specific things here and about the different swords that I was able to.
Count on the duelist to know these details. Isawa, how are you faring? I saw you coughing on the battlefield.
I think I've been better, but thank you for your concern.
Well, thank you for your assistance. We do not expect our priests to fight alongside us, and yet you fought more bravely than many lion.
Sometimes even a shepherd must defend a flock.
I couldn't have said it better. Will you two be accompanying me back to my camp? I can provide some healing for you if you need it. Or will you be returning to Toshiranbo?
We would be honored to accompany you to your camp. I'm sure Isawa could use some assistance.
It would be my honor.
Then please, come this way. It sounds like the battling has died down.
All right. And before we move off from the scene, the 2 opportunity that I had to kind of further that is I wanted to do that for it to reveal a yet unknown fact about your character that relates to the current situation.
You want me to reveal it, or
It's
you
a
want
GM. It's a GM reveal.
a fact about your
What
character?
about you?
You gotta mix up something.
I get to make
So
up something about
you
your
get to make
character.
something about Isawa.
So
You
I
have
already
6
introduced that
toes.
you were a bullied child. Something about your character that has to do with the situation.
That's a toughie.
That's a tough one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's
Does he have ti-
interesting.
Can he think about it for a while?
I think so. You have a fascination with awakening your weapon.
Yes.
That's something that you're very, very into. When Kakita is passing around this wakizashi, with the Shadowlands medal, basically, like as he's kind of showing it off, you reach out and ask to hold it, to weigh it, and just to kind of examine it, just because of your fascination with weaponry in general. And when you pick it up, you kind of feel your breath quicken, and it's almost like your lungs are pulsing as if they have their own hearts.
Okay.
Like when you touch this item, something inside of your body, something about the organs, reacts.
That's comforting.
And I will say this: it's a fact of your character, not of the taint.
Okay.
So write that down and send me that note in a message. And once you guys leave with Akoto, actually, I'll say this: do you ask to hold on to that wakizashi, or do you give it back to Kakita?
I don't want to play my hand yet, so I'll give it back to Kakita.
Perfect. Okay. I just wanted to establish who has it. Do you keep it, or do you leave it for the silent ones to take care of?
I think we should probably hang on to this.
Okay. I think the other weapons probably get left for
The ones that are
to
normal.
be sent back to families as they can be found and stuff, or melted down to make other weapons, etc.
Most likely return to the families if
Yeah,
possible.
if they can be found,
Yeah.
of course.
Right, but if they're not even crane weapons and they're crane, there's
Yeah,
obvious-
exactly. There's some discrepancies. Some of them aren't going to be able to be returned. Maybe all of them. Who knows? At the very least, they can be returned to the appropriate crane mon, to that family.
Appropriate family at least. Yeah.
Yes, even if it's not doesn't actually belong there, it can be returned there.
It could actually end up back in the hands of some family that lost, that it's a lost family weapon.
Yeah. So we'll shift over to Miyamoto at this point while you guys walk back to the lion encampment.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Click, we need Miyamoto, right?
What did you say?
Your time is over. Click. It's over.
But I did not bring down the wall.
I did not bring down the wall and let the Shadowlands in.
Not yet. You are walking
young.
with Ikoma Dendaru.
Yes.
You've given him his fan back.
Yes. Being a bard, he likes fans. So.
He does. And you see him kind of absentmindedly kind of opening and closing it, flipping it in his hand. He,
That is a very unique Tessin, I noticed. I'm very familiar with that weapon, but I'm not familiar with what has been done to your Tessin.
well, my Tessin, I mean, quote, end quote there, but this weapon has not been mine for its lifetime.
I gathered that since you are not old enough to, at least you do not look old enough, to have been able to. This is a very old weapon.
Let's just say that it's been passed down to me. And I think we can leave it at that for now.
Perhaps, but I would like to learn more about it. I'm fascinated by.
Well, as days go on and the nights grow darker, perhaps you and I will become more accustomed to one another, and I can share you the stories of my family
That would be very
and the
intriguing.
incredible acts of the Ikoma.
I would much love to hear it.
But for now, I think there are interesting things afoot here in Toshi Ranbo, don't you?
There are many things amiss that make no sense. I wish to unravel this knot.
What do you think of our doji magistrate, the surviving magistrate in town, as it is?
You talking about Hida?
No,
No, the daimyo.
no, the crane magistrate.
Yes.
So I think I said doji. I believe he's a Kakita, actually. Now that
Um,
I'm thinking about it.
I do not trust him. There is something.
That makes two of us.
Yes, but you may not trust him just because he is Crane. I do not have that bias.
And as you guys are walking along the road, he walks into one of the fruit stalls and flips a coin, pays for a
Grabs
pear,
plum. Oh, well.
grabs a pear, and begins.
Not again.
He takes a bite and then circles around to the backside of this stall and leans upon a tree.
Yes. So, why were you in jail?
Well, they don't really like me.
Well, okay. You seem like a rather pleasant fellow.
Pleasant is relative. I mean, nobody really likes me.
Really?
I
like you.
Well, you haven't been around me long enough. I don't know enough about you to not hold my tongue yet.
Do not hold your tongue. Speak from the heart.
My heart's not so great, but I like you so far, Miramoto. You don't really strike me as the type that even if I were to badmouth your family and your mother in front of you, that you would beat me to a pulp.
Probably not. But please refrain.
Well, I'll do so until I know more.
I see.
I can't make any promises.
Is there a reason that you feel the necessity to badmouth people's families and parents?
It's less about a necessity to badmouth or put down and more of a necessity of truth. I think that some people have overused their face.
Overused their face. I'm not sure exactly what that means.
They hide their intention. They hide their natural mode of thought. And I think that it's my duty to expose that. And it comes across very wrong to most people.
Well, there are three things that will never hide. And the truth and the sun and the moon. The truth will always come out. Do you feel it is your duty to expose that? And are there not better ways to expose it than in such a abrasive way?
The moon and the sun may come out every day, but their secrets are hidden from us constantly.
Not necessarily the secrets of the sun and the moon.
But the secrets of the kami.
But yes, that is true.
So, no, I don't trust the sun and the moon. I don't trust the words of a peasant farmer, for example, who claims that he helped in killing the lion magistrate of Toshi Ranbo.
I do not trust in that either. We are in agreement on that, and it would be very nice to discover the true facts behind that. In that truth, I will definitely help you in all that I can. But we do not have to attack in order to gain this
Who's
truth.
attacking? Whoa. He takes another bite.
I am not talking about physically attacking. When you talk about having to be abrasive, and I'm assuming sarcasm is one of your tools.
Never.
Yes, that was a very sarcastic remark in and of itself, sir.
I'm liking this character more and more.
So, the task at hand is we have to find out what the root cause, what is the motivation behind the Crane Magistrate in being duplicitous in his dealings, and why did the Emerald Magistrate take his word so easily? And again, you have not explained why you were in prison. You talk about truth, but yet you hold back truth. I've asked you a few questions. You have evaded. You have not spoken the truth. Is it that you seek truth only in others and not in yourself?
Yes.
That is a truthful statement. But perhaps you should... Here is a truth for you. And the teaching is simple. Just do what is right and be pure. Is that simple enough for you?
I can do what is right. That I can participate in. But purity is subjective, don't you think? It's been determined for us by the Emperor, and all hail him, right? But at the same time, I think there are things about our country that, you see, this is why I get thrown in jail all the time. It's not even just here, it's kind of just everywhere, that when I start to speak my mind about where we live and what our laws are and what the regulations happen to be and how little they all make sense, people don't like it.
Of course not. And in many cases,
But it's
you
true.
are right. That is true. We dragon do not get thrown in jail.
No,
We
you get
ex-
thrown on top of a mountain,
where we choose
and we
to
pretend
be.
you mostly don't exist until you're down here.
We are fine with that. And we love who we are. And we get involved when we feel it is necessary, when we have to balance things.
What if you always felt it was necessary? What if there was no balance? And what if you liked being involved in attention?
Are you speaking about yourself?
No, I'm asking about you.
You do not know me. I do not willingly choose these things.
So he's
We
going to
are
roll a
called.
check
Okay.
against you. It's going to be a competitive roll. You say I don't know you. I can't read you, Miramoto. What was it? Did you haven't shared your name with me, and I won't ask.
What, I haven't shared my name?
No,
Oh, my
I don't
full
think so.
name.
Yeah, your full name.
Okay.
Miramoto, I think you think that I can't read you. I can't surmise anything about you, but I think that I can think more than you think I can think. He's going to roll sentiment against whatever roll you want to make, probably meditation to kind of hide your the misgivings you have even about the Tagashi order and what enlightenment means and things like that.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's kind of what he's going to try to get after. He's going to try to assume that you don't follow the Tagashi order as much as you like to say that you do. Not in like a questioning or hurtful way, but just kind of very like in like shows like Castle and things like that, where they're like, oh, well, your shoes are brown, so that means you don't do this thing. One of those, like a Sherlock Holmes moment.
Oh my gosh.
And so tell me how many successes you wind up with, and he is rolling the fire ring.
I'm on Earth Ring, and I roll 3 successes with 2 strife.
He's got 5 successes with 2 strife and 1 opportunity.
Okay.
So he does beat your roll, and he says, Miramoto, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really think you buy into necessarily all the tenets of Tagashi. And I don't think that he really bought into all of the things that the monks say are true. I think you would probably agree with me in that, and I think also that your leaving so willingly of the temple mountains, and I noticed that you have the shaved head, which is why I call you Tagashi, of course.
Part of that was my choice, and part of that was...
Well, sure. Part of that was, I'm old. No. So I see that you're a monk, very obviously by the way you dress and the way you keep yourself, but you still wear the Miramoto Mon, meaning you haven't bought totally into what the Tagashi believe. I think more than you think I can think, and I think that
I don't know what you're saying.
and I think that what that means is I think I know you more than really you know you. And I think that you and I could be great friends if you were to just admit that and come along with me while we go figure this thing out.
Well, it's true. Nothing exists entirely alone. Everything is in relation to others.
Hey, stop talking Tagashi and talk Miramoto.
I am talking who I am. I believe these things that I share. The reason that I do not pull away from my Miramoto is because of my family. And I should part with all things. I should give up all things. I should not have attachments. And these do hold me back. And they will keep me possibly from ultimately finding the enlightenment that I seek. But I am not to that point yet. And I have to follow my heart. And this is where it leads me. And this is how it leads me. But don't mistake my sincerity in these things. that I am seeking. I do believe that we should look after others, because if we don't look after others, then who will there be to look after us? And that is part of what the Dragon Clan gets involved with.
I think the same thing, which is why I think you should duck right now.
Okay, and I duck.
And as you duck, he tosses the pear in the air, flips out his fan, and catches an arrow in it. And that's where we're going to end our session. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you all later. And until then, keep on adventuring. If you're here with the stream, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll come right back with more L5R. And we can't wait to see more of what's going to happen to Miyamoto now that he's being shot at. See you in a minute.